What's up, my fellow devs, and welcome back to the Dev Shop. So, the previous video, we got our characters motion set, the animation graph, and the workspace set up so that we can better be prepared for setting up the animation system through motion effects. In this video, we're going to work on getting the animations put together in a simplistic manner. I want to have a more advanced set of videos, maybe 2 weeks out, maybe the week after next, that goes into more like blend trees and using group for parameters and things like that. But this is just more of a primer for getting you guys working and set up for testing inside of the environment. So we're going to set up all of the animations and the parameters so that we can see what it looks like inside of the Motion Effects editor, so that we can have a better idea what it's going to look like once we apply scripting and colliders and the player character controller for when we set it up in the outside world, so to speak. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is open up our animation graph. So if we go to our player, scroll down to our anim graph, let's open that up. First thing we want to do is go to File, go to Recent Workspace, and open that up. Discard the new one that they created. And then let's open up our animation graph for this workspace. All right, you see we have our graph, we have our adventure set and motion set. So we're gonna create a simplistic graph here. With, of course, a more advanced one in the near future. So first thing we want to do is go to right click, create node, sources, and go to motion. We're going to name that idle. And we're going to create another one. I'm just going to call that one run. Well, let's call it walk, actually. And then we'll create another one, and we'll call that one run. So when you hover over your motion set, you're going to have hands. You see the hand? This right here means you can move it around. You can grab it. When it turns into a finger, that's when you can pull off for a connection line to connect it to another motion. So that's going from this motion, exiting and entering this motion. Do the same thing to pull it back down. Do the same thing here. Pull it up for run. Pull it back down. There we go. I'm going to give this some space. There we go. Now, naturally, you would have things like, strafing left and right for like a four-way type movement. But now I made mention that you can incorporate multiple motions per motion node that's weight blended, and you can do different things like different idles and things like that. We're just going to keep it simple because the character only has one idle, and it is right here, Ren idle. Hit OK. If we go to walk, we have Ren walk and Ren run. Now, if you right click and activate, you can see which one it is. So that's the one. I want to actually do the walk, but for some reason didn't activate it. All right, let's go back to the idle. Now, to go into the idle to walk, we're going to need a set of instructions, parameters, and conditions that tell us when to do so. So if you can see down here in the corner, we have parameters. We're going to add a parameter, and we're going to call it speed. And you can do a description if you want. And our default is 0, minimum is 0, and our maximum is 1. You can get a little bit more advanced with this, but we'll talk about that later. But we're going to leave it at this for now and hit create. Now that we have our speed parameter, we want to click on this first arrow going from idle to walk. As you can see here, we have different options for our transition. One thing we want to focus on is add condition. So we want to go to parameter condition, select parameter, go to speed, hit OK. And now we have different options on how we interact with that parameter. So this is basically saying if the parameter is greater than the test value, which is this guy, then it's going to transition from here to there. So we want the transition to be greater than 0.1. All right, now if I go to the one on the left and replicate that, add condition, parameter condition, select speed. We want to do parameter equals test value, which is 0. Now, if we were to test that and drag this slider over, you're going to see Ren walking. If you drag it back down, you're going to see her stop walking. Now, this setup that I'm about to explain now works more like a controller. Doing it for mouse and keyboard would be a little bit more of a different setup. But for the most part, if we go from the walk to the run, we can do the same thing. Speed. And we want to say if it reaches 1. Or if it's greater than 0.5. Let's do that. If it's greater than 0.5. And to head back into walk, we'll just say if it's less than or equal to 0.5. All right, so when we test that, if we start walking, you can see down here by the speed, we have 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, then she starts to run. All right, and if we bring that back down, until we're back down to idle. All right, so it creates this somewhat blend between 3 animations. The blending would get a lot more smooth when you start using blend trees, but we'll get into that in another video. I think I should stop saying it. All right, now that we have this is it. This is our character movement. Now we could add a backwards walk. Let's actually go ahead and do that. And before I do that, I'm going to edit my speed parameter. I'm going to go to edit. And what I want to do is for a minimum, I want to do -1. Maximum 1. So let's do that. So now we have that. So now it allows us to go into the negative and into the positive. So I'm going to create another motion. I'm going to call this walk backward. And I'm going to actually select the walk again because she doesn't have a back walk. And I'm going to actually click on reverse here. So now I'm going to pull into the idle, or from the idle into the walk backwards, and from the walk backwards back into the idle. And we're going to add a condition parameter, add speed. We want to say if it's less than -0.1. Then we're going to go into the backwards, and of course, to go back into idle, if parameter equals 0. All right, very simplistic, but this will get you prototyping movement very, very fast. So let's go ahead and test that out. If you go to idle and activate, you can see that she walks, runs, come back to walk, idle, and walk backwards. And go back to idle, or as close as I can get it. There we go. So let's go ahead and save that, hit exit, and it's going to ask us to save those files. Hit OK. All right. And we're just going to add a few files to set us up for the next video. So go to add component. We want to add our script canvas, as that's going to be what drives our movement, keeping it very simple. For right now, I'm not sure how I'm going to handle movement per se. There are a few ways you can do it. So if you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you really like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Around Monday or Tuesday or so, I'll start putting up the project files on my GUMROAD for a few bucks if you guys want to partake in that. Of course, it's going to be the same as what you guys get through the video, so you can just follow along and you'll still have what you need. But for the GUMROAD, I'll probably pretty up a little bit more, throw in some comments and some breakdowns of why I did what I did in Word form. Also, I'll do like Lua versions for those who want to learn that. So that'll kind of be like the value for the GUMROAD. And also, if you guys become a Patreon, you can get the project files on there as well. So yeah, also don't forget to join the Discord. If you guys have not joined that already, it's not just for Lumberyard, it's for any engine. I have channels for Unreal and Unity. So other than that, hope you guys are having a very dope day. Hope you guys are prospering in your projects, and until next time, keep developing.